2026 and the year of our Lord. You and I have to rejoice and renew in this day. Today happens to be a day that marks the first day of the second week of the month of March. We need to celebrate in it. The Lord has been good to you and I. And I pay I was here the asada and madi asada esenuisa senyankopon aya diama minomi no. And I pay yɛhyɛ dwumadi na se ɛwɔ nyankopɔn edimu the dialogue show so ne yɛde ɛbrɛ wo ne anɔpɛ yi na edi sɛ fata sɛ wɔsɛ yɛde aseda ma de san so no nkuto no amankwa we se a ɛdɛm ne gikawa bia ne ho ato me no mienu ɛnɛ anɔpɛ yi tie sɔre anɔpɛ se a wɔsɛ yɛde aseda ɛma ne san so kenka kyerɛ kronkron no yi nyankopɔn kɛseɛ ɛde kyerɛ ɛwɔ Psalm 104 wɔsɛ me nyankopɔn wo na wahyɛ han sɛ atade no watrɛ so mi senta matam na se duro nwumra a ɛmoadoma nyinaa pie kɔpɔ mo anu aduane wɔ nsɛm mo de mo tase gyataburu abobɔ mu do machi na wo tase no so kra na sam me wo kra wo kenka duru ba bia no akase me nyankopɔn sɛ de onwuma si do so fa na nso nyansam na wo yi ne nyinaa wo na wo ma de ni hɔ ɛbaaye wo ma pepe anua esiso edua ma mu na no ma na mo ne so nyankopɔn di sɛ fata sansa na ɔpɛ yɛde aseda ɛma wo na yɛnka nkyɛ gya wo so sɛ gya wo so din wo ti wa hini mra de ɔpɛ enye ho asase so said your sreja ma me dada duane fa me fom so fa chem said me de che omo fom me emfa me nkonso hwemini mi firi muso mu na wo na ahene ni tumi ne nyam eye ode da agidis for enye so say ame enye ho na be ye ho ede aman ene anope e wo dwumadi eso ene eye joda ye hye na wo twefoforo ase e wo the dialogue show eso wonu se dwumadi eye socio political and afi economic affairs and ye de ebre wo efiti joda kosi efie da bia no yedi sa adwumadi e de bromidin e de kwame abo akuda nkwamo abechia from air komodo I am your host with the most and I am your moderator efiri sa abre ko se nonkron ebebo pa wonsima no adue no wo dialogue show so no ye the segment ahodo na ebre wo ye wo the weather update anopai se de wiem sakrem nsem no be ya afa no ye de bebre we no achi agudie mrante ba beje adwa na almost aba besom ye wagudie ekwan so isan say all work and no play Jack a door boy you win sa CJ Winters entertainment kakra ho enso ebebre ye na fe intellectual discussion ebre ebeba obra ye de newspaper review the major news making headlines in the various newspapers ye de nyina abre wo awie na interviews kakra ho so ye de aba ene de na etwagu o man Ghana emu wonu say general mosquito se edu nketia akeka nsem bi ne nsem o kan say enipa 500,000 na ye bie portal to ho say yemfa posifo adwuma na omkoto form so no na mu jama 5,000 pe na ebehia no say 500,000 nyina be ye posifo a kromfo be na omkokire no te hwan na ekoda na kromfo na hwan na akire wo mo this what they are saying Ketia is selling the NDC youth and Ghana for but ni nyina mu no ya manwosem na wo mo eye wa kire na adwe wa kan de so na adwe nche na wo kaaye no intellectually ofa asem no we ni mienu a etesen ni nyina no it is you and I has to judge ni nsem a wokaye no eno so ewo ho PURC Public Utility Regulatory Commission PURC for na anom de abaso mate ensuo ebo so omo de abaso mate nkane abo so ye koyanim no ye be kyerɛw nkane na omate so eni ensuo na omate so no etesen ewo omai emu say yatin so baby sas we need the kan yatin so ana say there be the year 2018 eba 2020 mu hoba bi omotin so afen so eba ya bedu 2023 omotin so ni nyina no eye kwan ye befa so a ye be matimamufo ho ahan no kopek fo mpanifo kire say fan wo bo be kosoro eno so mu nkomo etesen Russia Ukraine war a ye kono emu nkomo ewo ho aibe mafango akoso we nyina ye nkomo ebedi edi amaka na hye no se ne freedom of information day. We mark this day to highlight free accessible information and it's a fundamental democracy. So be pe bibi open information bi na otimi enya no fundamental to a democracy. Say na Ghana had the no chi bedi hu nkomo ede amao ni nyina no ewo dwumadie eso ntentem so yenkona fe yenkohwe na yenkoje the pledge emfa emra san sabrina brinya menu mienu hia ye pledge ye ho say eneda ye ya sori no yɛde akoma pa ɛkɔ yɛkɔsom ɔman no sompa ɛnnɛ yɛ fresh working day for a new week and for that matter kɔne kɔsom ɔman no ɔsompa nafa akoma pa kɔ na ɔkɔ abɛyɛ by the power bestowed on me as a moderator I duly declare say the pledge.
The pledge. I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, my motherland. I pledge myself to the service of Ghana with all my strength and with all my heart. I promise to hold in high esteem our heritage won for us through the blood and toil of our fathers, and I pledge myself in all things to uphold and defend the good name of Ghana. So help me God.
Right, abusia we ene ye bo hye ne ye nsem a ye ka ebere ko school ne ye nsa to ye bo ane aka sansem yi fiti ye nananom pen so hyehye sansem gu ho no bisa se we aban mu pani a de sa adwuma di dwuma na wo de sansem di dwuma wo ye adwuma bi mu pani a wo de sansem yi di dwuma na anopa bi aso na wo bekọ a o pledge wo ho se adwuma mi kwei mi nkomo obi a keta asehye mi nkomo obi a dwirim mi nkwaye proye wa adwuma nim wonso a wokọ adwuma bi san se mi koi enne mi nye keta asehye mi nye proye mi nye dream na de ama me se me mfa mo a oman no eno na no beboa na. This is what I have to ask you and anopay sente sa free ne siesi wo ho free ne ka se na be ya da che oman no ebebo abaso na onso atime ho de ekoso anopay yenkoje motivation na yemra na afi yemfa wiem sakram sem no emeda wo your motivation any say na anopay de e ka che wo na production team e ka che wo ne say ye motivate wo ne ye hye wo nkran no ye say think outside the box. Ena ejoda na wotwe atwa mu no nyina no niam bia ntimi ankoso yi de obi adwen no manwe no de obi asusu mesusu eno. Think outside the box and it positively de ye ne papa mu no eno na adwen enti obi a pe kwan a pese e fa ha na bia ye kọ Kumase obi anu tia se efiri ha kọ Kumase eye se bia obefa kwantempo no so na wakọ esusia ba ko se da bi yemfa wiem nko yefa wiem kwa a ebetimi am edu Kumase. That is also perfect, but edie biem ne ebetimi aya ebetimi asan du Kumase enti obi adwen ye befa soro obi adwen se me nkwa de ye befa poso kosusu Kumase epuni Kumase. So how can we go now what think outside the box and they achieve the so achieve? That is what the production team is telling you. Say think outside the box. And yamana air no think outside the box. Fansusia foforo efaye ne beko ye. On that note, I draw the motivation down afi yenko ese de wiem sakram samono ebe afa don hwe dunu na ya edi enu sansemre no eye akọ etia ye sa agudi mrante no ayeka do se so besom ye wagudi ekwaso no peye ko wiem na yekohwe ese de wiem sakram samono ebe ye afa don hwe edunu na ya edi enu ye hunu se mununkum kakra ewo wiem Ghana fana ba bibebre no ano mununkum kakra ewo wiem ene anopefo ba bia kwaye bretu ewo ba bia mepo ena nutan ewo no. That is forested and mountainous areas no eho eye mununkum kakra ena ebo kakra so edi ehyiamu eda no ekwa nimu na eda no enyi no ewia ebenite ama wia abo edi amaye Ghana fana ba bibebre ye hwani mu se ensuo kakra agrada wum ebeba nsumre kakra ebeba ntia na yakai ahye no nso na miamia bi wo ho a ebetimi abobom agrada ewo ho ba bia sutade ewo yemfree form no ebetimi enya na safiti awi abobrem ekọ na nwumrem Ghana ye hwani mu se tifido mantem de eho bekoso a ayehye ese ya wi a ebebo ewo saa miamia no ya na wonso wakai ahye no so no pa yegina flower enkran ka so Cape Coast akrade azim Hokofodi achimoda Kumase obo aseta kwase hwebe kwa kitikra chicken tampo go susunyane ena tachiman no mununkum kakra ewo wiem oma ho hye no ahyase ohwe mununkum ewo wiem na ejino hamobu pen aduanan 40% ya ho hye no gina free 23 ekosi 25 anopai awiabobrem na awiabe ni tinenso enso betimi agugu wo nkran ya otie ya bet enso betimi atoka so a ene ne mpɔtam Cape Coast nso ɛka ho egyina hɔ amobupen aduasa ho kofodua achemodan afei nso ɔbo ase takwa ne mpɔtam wɔ bra ketikrache ɛka ho nso ebetimi anya nsuo egyina hɔ amobupen aduasa ekosi na aduanan ɛso awiabobre mu no ya ho hye no bepagya anopa yi die egyina 23 ekosi 25 degrees Celsius no abegyina 32 and 35 degrees Celsius omom de bɛkɔ soro no ɛbɛkɔ 38 ɛno no ɛyɛ ketikrache efitie awiabobre mu ɛkɔ nwumre mu no ɛbɔ kakraba bɛsanka wiem ɔmanfo ɛwɔ Cape Coast etie yi a ɔmbetimi asan anya nsuo sanso ɛna ezim ɛna ho ɛnso ɛka ho ɔmo nso gyina hɔ mobopen aduasa ɛno nam so bɛma ho hye no so ate aba anwumre no abegyina 28 ɛna akɔ soro kra no ɛyɛ 30 degrees Celsius na kyese wiem adwo kakra na yɛtimi ada yɛkɔ Ghana atifi fam yɛgyina yendi tamale bole damango bogatanga na lelugu ɛna wa anopa yi ɛbɔ kakra wɔ wiem de mom nanso ɔma ho hye na ahyase susupro no so no anopa yi egyina free 26 ekosi 28 degrees Celsius awia bobre mu no awia bɛyi ne ti ɛde amom ɛno nam so bɛmɔ ma ho hye na pagya anopa yi susupro no a egyina 26 ekosi 28 degrees Celsius no abegyina 38 ɛna 41 degrees Celsius na kyese awia wɔ hɔ ɛde mɔmɔ anwumre no ma ho hye no ɛso ɛbɛte ɛwɔ bra ɛbɔ kakra bɛsanka wiem ba abegyina 32 ɛna 33 degrees Celsius na ewiem adwepo no so ɛyɛ basabasa kakra ɛso yɛ rough ɛde ma afarefo no ɔmɔ manimre sɛ krodom na afɔ mpɛ nam kakra ɛmfa emrenta busia don hwɛ de no na yɛ edi animu yi sɛ na wiem sakra mu nsɛm no ɛyɛ afa agudie mrante ba bɛgye adwa na ɔmo so abɛsome wɔ agudie ɛkwan so sanse all work and no play Mezia ke doughboy no amede ma Atrams division Dreams FC and Pando Heart of Lions omo eboa akansia no eye de kwa Africa we ne betimi akwa Africa MTN FA Cup na enra na nya sem kuma Gordon Atram sesa ne de na yema coach red card obi okita division 1 osahe achess wo boban kakra these are some of the disheartening ana ebu abam cause when me say the team no obo no eye nkwada wo ne Premier League na ebonte so gina touchline no trete ne nkwala no we fa ya mo ya pejafo sa referees so wo ye dido so ye denyo abman yellow card akoy complaini and then na me also wasa man red card aka ho kwata man kwala ye show me trene ade we ye de Ghana ball my emma osi ahenemra beje adwa na afi on fa the tidbit around ni nyina fa emra ewo agokansi ekwan. So on that note, I draw the curtains whereby we see ahene takes you on your TV with a word of sports.
Na man the brass no dey sort of sport and pay no ba share ewo Net2 TV the dialogue so ba say A to Z about sports Ghana komo Africa we are see here was TV no na ya no about share na pay live now on Facebook live now on the YouTube near Net2 TV GH Femi Kofi Amponsa see here na pay e be say when you say your World Cup here okay so the countdown is still on your 87 days na World Cup tournament no chassis our US, Canada and Mexico. So the Black Stars team no go so for the upcoming competition. until 87 days to the tournament. So last Simino, what do we say? Good news, and say Antoine Semenyo, okay, and last week Friday, okay, Owini, the player of the month, EPO, and yet dear that form, you get it, and yet dear that form, and you know, you be able to say you just you cannot try ne kodabi. Rasho the man blast the madam and yanko. So yeah, say blast Simino. Ebe jamna so because you will GDA say tournament na eba so your players on to me aye adwuma dia mai Kudus is still nursing an injury. I just hope in say maybe end of April they be out to return Arsenal with me abenya hoden si Kencity dia mai ye nua Thomas Partey is still having this court issues Friday court case in our journey to April 10th. So I just hoping say your players will be active at club level so that tournament na year kono enough form. Because we're in a group England, Croatia, and Panama. These are giants in football. What I say. I'm happy say your players and Antoine soon only the amount for this important tournament. That is a countdown for you. So each one be you better countdown. Say me one kai say 87 more days. Now workout tournament Basso. Ghana be Bryant University. You boy games. Boston and Philadelphia. So you better wish your team all the best. Now away from now, let's talk about U17. Yeah, U17 national team also prepare for an upcoming U17 tournament. So over the weekend, I bought 2 friendly matches. One was against Samates on youth team, winning by 6-0. Then only a 1-0 win over here. First team. So the team also goes to prepare for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations. Now let's talk about FA Cup. Ghana weekend games akoso. Edena SAS enya win. And the ultimate said the winner be Ghana name CAF Confederation Kencity. Always we are now. Yana you pay attention to it. Quite unfortunate say you 2 giants Ghana has a folk kotoko both are mixing in these actions all because of results are not yet penomon sa and to me and Kencity production. Whatever yes, roll the other pictures in Kumadama. Okay, so it didn't win. Nations a draw, but they won on penalties against Brecum Chelsea. Then also last night Medium also win over Atlantic Vista by 3-0. So we are set for the semi-final stage of the competition. Dreams, FAC Mediama, then also Nations up against Edianasa. So these are games for the FA Cup games. So Ghana has say. Until now, that was the quarter-final stage of the competition for you. Now let's talk about Women's Premier League. Women's Premier League. We can hear about games. The Southern Zone and the Northern Zone. So these are results by Southern Zone. Police Eluso against House of Oak Ladies. Army Ladies enya 1-0 win over Halifax Queens. Epiphany Warriors Eluso won against Hazakes Ladies. Samates enya 2-1 win over Jonina Ladies. The Northern Zone Prisons enya 3-0 win over Northern City Ladies. Tamale Super Ladies enya a 1-0 win over Ampim Dakwan. Same as say FC Savannah record a 2-1 win over Ashtown Ladies. Fosu Royals enya a 4-0 win over Northern Ladies. So these are results course now every year as far as Women's Premier League a year concern over the weekend. Now let's talk about tennis. Weekend any wrap up a year in Janik Sinner and win over Medvedev. Now it was an exciting to witness this particular game. In fact, Janik Sinner were consistent, making sure say in the world of tennis there, once Novak Djokovic nominal and say engineer there title Janik apika but just say the performance recently is always top notch. Okay, so Janek Sena won weekend, which is a Indian Wars. I course so over the weekend. About the ladies, Sabalenka also won for the ladies. So Sabalenka won the world of tennis. Indian Wars weekend. I just say it was a cracker to watch this particular game. No, like ladies in the tennis and Ayana, you love them, okay? Like so lovely to watch. And man, we see me time. We say tennis, one gamer, you can certainly say maybe 2 hours for that game your movie. It's tennis there. You need time and you love it. That was what happened over the weekend as far as tennis a year concerned. Now let's talk about the NBA, okay? So the NBA games equals weekend. So on the screen now, know your Lakers. Let me say my favorite there. LeBron James, my funny Niago is my favorite. Okay, hey Charlie, LeBron James there, my favorite, and we no need to argue about it. Those said they lost at home there, but games no okay. So these are some results about up weekend. New York Knicks in your win over Golden State Warriors. So Yakoba said Golden State Warriors so lost weekend the world of the NBA. Then Toronto Raptors and so in your win over Pistons. Oklahoma City Thunder in your win over Minnesota Timberwolves. Then Sacramento Kings in your win over Los Angeles Clippers. Then Miami Heat lose against Orlando Magic. Boston Celtics in your win over Washington Wizards. And San Antonio Spurs is in your win over Charlotte Hornets. Atlanta Hawks in your win over Milwaukee Bucks. So these are games across weekend. The world of the NBA. Okay, and see that's that for you now. Let's talk about games that across over the weekend. In the EPL, they come out and say Arsenal in your win over the weekend. United in your win over the weekend. Chelsea lose at home. Now in La Liga, they come out and say Barcelona won, Madrid didn't win games. Today, let's enjoy the highlights of European games over the weekend. Name it was.
And it comes from Dowman. It's in. Victor Gyökeres in the 89th minute of the game. Arsenal get it clear through Martinelli. And here comes Dowman. What an end this is going to be. Max Dowman, the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history. What an impact he's made. What a player he's going to be. What a story this is. Finding Joe Willock. Chelsea in danger. And Anthony Gordon walks the ball into the net. Bernardo Silva on the overlap. Bernardo Silva. Oh, he scored! Bowen's corner. Donnarumma hasn't got there, it's in! Goes with another corner, and in! It's that man again! To be a good one it is! It's Ross Barkley! Put on his heels, Cunha! That's the better of Odegaard. And in! That's what he does! 5 direct free kick goals this season. Into the final minutes of the 90-minute goal. Stoppages to be added. Colomboani, will it sit up for him? Richarlison scores a lifeline goal for Spurs! All of the season.
Barcelona have that early lead. Floating the ball out to Cancelo. And from Cancelo. I felt there might have been a handball from Carmona while he was on the floor.
Yeah, and it was a stretch that could go wrong for Sevilla. It's gone wrong the first 20 minutes.
Yes. It is a penalty. Surely not another Panenka. Well, it's into the bottom corner. Hard and low.
Barcelona, instead of being run by, as he calls it, friends and family, two different ways of understanding what the club needs.
He's Bernal with the ball in, and it falls to Olmo. Dani Olmo thumping home the third goal for Barcelona. He had plenty of space, and it never felt like he was going to miss that one. Olmo pops up for his 7th league goal of the season. Here's Juanlu. Floats it in towards Osso. Lovely goal. Really nicely taken goal from Osso. The ball in from Juanlu was perfect, and the finish exquisite from Osso. Here's Fermin. Decides to find Rafinha. It's deflected. And in for the hat-trick for Rafinha. A big deflection. And a big celebration. Rafinha scoring his 3rd, Barcelona's 4th, and really important.
Was allowed.
Space here for Cancelo. He might go it alone here. Cancelo into the box, cuts in. Cancelo! He made it all by himself, João Cancelo. He found the finish as well.
To this, and how about that for a flying start when they needed it? Touched on by Kimmich. Schick. Oh, that was glorious. And here's the run from Malik Tillman. Tillman for Leverkusen. Will that prove to be costly? Shiver of excitement. And Schick going after this one. Patrick Schick denied by Sven Ulreich. But here's Poku for Leverkusen. Now, all of a sudden, Olise didn't expect to be the recipient of that one, and Luis Diaz! The Colombian makes the moment count. Oh, Leverkusen trying to turn on the jets, and Mazar with the shot, and it wouldn't go in. To this, and how about that for a flying start when they needed it? Touched on by Kimmich. Schick. Oh, that was glorious.
All right, game speak was but Ebrenty. Now let's talk about Mike Carrick. Okay, so Carrick I do here with United no. I was say one of us because team they can a gua ankasa. But I said we very revival Manchester United team no. Tie perhaps my Carrick dey no whatever man yanko quick. So since Carrick beat Cuba no. Na United they play 7th. Our leg log necessary with 32 points. But we told move team na to number 3rd position with 54 points. No, Carrick, Obuejuma. Eka our inquiry agatino a good cry. Inti Carrick air trendy because of a year this performance. I'm EPL table na yanko because look I say Arsenal for no late title on the omunya ejia nkasa. Mame late table no EPL Sunday na yanko wadarama. All right. Well, Arsenal player we can was just 16 years and 74 days old. The youngest player obo EPL washibu and all trendy pa but Ebrenty, we talk about him tomorrow. But Arsenal lead with 70 points. City and S with 61 points. 3rd United with 54. 4th Aston Villa with 51 points. You'll be seeing a pay. You're nasi. So you're part of the sports segment here at Net2 TV, the dialogue so. Make I will say weekend Friday and Monday a holiday. Inti pay the builder in chief book ni bitufi. You love the book. The builder in chief. Ken or Agyapong. E hun koma nkran book ni. Oben for Charles amod attention e book. Inti Friday ya wo nkwa adwuma ni Monday no. That's the book e was say won ebusua no. Mo kan ho ase. Ekoi baba nti ya bra. Madina Zongo Junction. Pina wa ubenya bi ato. 0503 844 0503 844 Beje a copy of The Builder in Chief. When we see another pay that's not time you bar in your bar. CJ Winters is here. Ghana's favorite entertainment news. Up next, matching.
Fresh morning, fresh blessings. Everything is fresh. We are into a new week, right? So everything is going to be new. Last week, no, the uncle yenina, the anati yenina, no, this week, no, yet yenina, okay? Yeah, so we are having it best and bigger. Right, so good morning. Now, mumpomo today, your weekends, no, mini ya no, mini your pay, no, fiano ko, ne ya no. Mapale back being here. On talk about that. Okay. And the entertainment segment haji the dialogue show G Antonyaho. Right. Namidi and CJ Winters. We are seeing na Virgin Bakwa Aka. Wudi mi ho agra. Acha se mo no mutiato. Okay? Beautiful. Na and semuni bia yebe hweno ene say you can be great wherever you are. Rocky Dawuni ene dia semi aba. Na ebusia ene Monday entefu to same bibiara beba ewo mystery Simono. You have no choice than to listen and do it. Okay? Whether you like it or yes, it's our count mappy. Ebiom, so I prefer to organize my own show. Setawali explains and medical on the NYA, you know, ambassadorial deals and all that. Fine. Right. So let me get into the stories. With that of Rocky Dawuni. Rocky Dawuni, tiawa. And that's going to be our first motivation, okay? What he's saying is, baby, I will be and tokro be and wa no. Ubetumi epie. Bibi bia we biano. It can be great, okay? I wouldn't want to say much because he said it all in the video. So let's go have a first video.
I think you can be great wherever you are. You know, I think that greatness has no boundaries. You know, so if you are, you know, you can be great and project yourself wherever you are. And then the thing is that, you know, it's strategy. Everybody has strategy. I'm saying the music, no war strategy. The textbook strategy for most of the time, they say record label will sign you, they will release your record, in different markets, and then you go and tour those markets to make sure, say, you make a fan base in those markets, you sell your music there, you project it. But now with the internet, you know, and all of that kind of stuff, people are able to project themselves beyond national boundaries, you know. And I think, you know, Shatta has done a great job of, you know, projecting himself, you know, across borders and and he has a strategy and he knows what he wants and he knows how he wants to execute that, you know. The way I did mine was different from the way he would do his.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mine required me to travel and go, because at that time we didn't have the internet and all of those countries, so you had to go geographically. And I'm still kind of the mentality of also going and making fan bases in different places and different countries, because I love cultures. I love to meet people and all around the world, but that's just me. And I feel that, you know, everybody has the right to say and project what they believe in, you know. I think you can be great.
Now, in another story, no, Shatawale. Ana mafupi na ibisa say, I don't think Shatta, like he's not been on other people's shows. So be Shatta say be a Oribo show, be a na or no ankasani show. Amafubi no mo kra eka say Shatta kra de obi akra mfane enko ni show so na dia de. But the reason why in tia ayo yesa no any say na all can no say and you say be a no onye duma bi ana say on to me nkobo show se man nkofo na dia de. Okay, so let's have a bit to say London say na say promoter be per se obani shows and so the bo show. Fine, that's cool. Promoter ko na ordinary kosa show ne so no. On to me afford baby a no Shatta beda. Baby a be kai bi obe you see wo ho no mo na dia de. And many times, no, it is not about self-akobo show ne keke, but expenses around events and no. And on many of those people, no, to me afford it. But say, oh, no, ankasani show there, he knows that this is my show. Whatever that comes out from it, no, or no one a day. And it said your penno, and I'll be an no. Muti a china more kasana mu nimo dear. Entia a banesana, and I'm more to swaka. Because you'll be in a business, it is not your business. And to kakakra, na which so this is the reason why, no, Uncle Coco, a man for show so Nadia, because he's an expensive artist. You got it? He's an expensive artist, that's what I say. Now, baby, to say O2 say not church 20,000 capacity. It is too small for him. If only say obeja to muso obeyen kwade obetimi ya felis out to arena no krama e bia nkofo kwa ba kujidejina yizengre top e bi kwa be jidejina abonte na ade enti no mo say because say no the conversation has been say to arena no and I will be into me feeling honom and I will say artists we am kwanko artists we am Hata wale say O2 Arena. And I say if it's a culture for him. If it's a culture, give up. You know, mon petrol pill be na montana sineja. O2 no mo amuni mu say obetimi aya manabro so. Okay, said ya ye wo Ghana na. Aye gbum no. The same way. So that's it. Right, so let's move into another story. Medical. I didn't know where she was. Said drug abuse. Say siano. Or no so de ne ho baba jimu bi. E ade a enye the youth no omore say youth no bebre na or say drug abuse. Na abra asemi ebae no na amanfo eridi ho nkomo say na ade obi na force medical say onko ye bibi sana because medical de na yinu abonte abeka say enye obi ana ahye no so onko abonte na onko ka say na drugs enye munjai drugs kona kwotena se na tie se binyans asem ene den ono ankasa na wo wakomu se obi akonsu ase abeka cho se maame wata nisin green a echinye be na wa ole ni pade be di wakonsu ase da wakonsu ase da nkonsu ase da enti ono na wakosa tibia bi etisamu and he's out of it and oribo hu dehuru say bibi say enye se obeye drugs no enye ebetimi ase wa brabo it doesn't matter so obi won we ka say obi no me a partial smoker na me a partial ninyina no whether you do it once a year akra ninyina no e yade enya ebetimi ha wa brabo enti mprempren ya no na wetwa so cause when you be ba ho so no now you are far gone ansha na akwakoye enye bibio famonya bio yam penisanti na wejai kwekumenu in another story can say when it comes to the industry say bia omo actors and now say bia media when you are out there now when it comes to relationship any awari munsem na nienti a okan say awari munsem no. Let's go have a video, okay? Kwekumenu has explained.
Bonimra woso na tam bebre no ahye ekọ ene na ma wohwe industry na kasa ni awade on konya de obete wase a emoa wo estresso emuntokwa ene mo ade ene to de nipa ka adwuma so so wonfa won ko hyemu pa yi a minnim obeka se bonsam te adwuma nim because baby kura na wo akokora na wo te baby kura no obi security a wo monitor wo kuru kura betimanya wo video nipa 20 na on betra se di nkomo nyina ne obi nya sa pictures ni nyina obi afa bi se wan corner se wonnim se satellite no se wiem de ni bi nekuta no picture bi okwa betimi akwa na asa besi wa wo so na nipa no refi se ono na to wo hwe se obi di picture ya se ne me obi hwe na e wa wo picture oti emma awade ne mpratwe any way mu no odo anodin ti wan hwe abeka se industry mu na awade anyeye wan hwe abeka se industry na awade and yes isi ayetie obi wo ma ba won te wase wono anim se wo TV so pai kasa no wo frew wono so nim se wo TV so na wo kasa wo ada na wa tra de mompon wo ma fi on ti eye challenge no odo anodin we am to nche ko wo ba kura be ha no adi tra so se chire ko kuma no bibisa esi o wo minim so for wo preach na yere akofie no say adi na wo preach hwe ni pass me se ni mu saa tisi asofu preach na ni hwe wiem asa de da nani but ya de bi a yes nyankopon say wo hu ye mobo because industry no mu challenge na de
to Kwekumenu kasaba yampa relatable obi sha no pose asema okay no so fu bia no wo say ma semi na wa bosso sa no yampa but how we go do adwuma bi a wode ato ho so say wo re sama ya aduan a wode won sa akotum whether you like it or yes umaye right. So my last story no yebeko Nigeria ho na yebeko akosi okay. Na ebusia mokai Papa Addo and company on nkwala no monko tena chiri wokosmo no ye kan we na monte ase sa papa yi na oyi Papa Addo papa ye friend Papa Addo no ye tene nka che yi papa but wasan so aba na emi say they see wa Ghana no they see wa Ghana kwasi afane story no ebi esi wa Nigeria, okay. Yankona Yankutie from Papa Aja's school. When we come back, we'll discuss something a little before I go.
Adenuga Production.
Yeah, I still work with Wale Adenuga Productions. Currently now, we are a new concept entirely is on. That's Gen Z Papi. Papa Jasko, I was with Rasta, my head. And so we are still on. But the major problem is that I'm not moving and why people are not seeing me where they're supposed to see me is because that particular character, that particular character has been registered by Wale Adenuga. And anybody that wants to use me outside, they want to use me with the character, with everything that I have. But it has never been easy for me. And that's why you don't see me on adverts, you don't see me on billboard and all that. So it's painful.
So the character has been trademarked by the company you work for?
Yes, exactly.
So you don't have exclusive rights to even use it for any Wale Adenuga production?
Yeah, I still work with Wale Adenuga Productions.
You can't say they see what Ghana and they see what Nigeria no. And see many times say you do yen peak na ABA obi epese or sponsor and now obi pese or sign or label be asia and na yen share conditions no say be boying and na and for whom praying to be a woman and can say and then him they forget it or be a bear come another wako room where we na fe no china no ho aba be kire wa untumi enya ho hwe ne he Heda wake no just say bibia nhyeda nkoyi o but obey ne den because baby na o ye adwuma no dia na wuhu no say ono ni Papa Aja's school no enya de obetima akoye o baby foforo bia biom aye no nti etimi ma ne ho e kire ne star. So let me end my story here. Send you be na dialogue no ebeto so with all what we've got for you this morning. It's a Monday morning and you know bibia was here the bro biano. We've got it for you. CJ Winston sending me the everyone nana Maya Virgin African Sopra. I love you guys so much.
Right, I will say 54 after 6 no so our power simano aduenum and na ye braso say ye jedwana for ye de dwumade no de to so etime ekosaropai ye nko ye breakfast calendar no so na ye ko ye de calendar no so etie ene eye joda se de medical ka cho no eye march bosom ne de to so dunsia e wo fiempino ene aduenu ensia emu ede ka ho ye twa na no makoma ku 16 days say you see the month of March emu aka 15 days and sana in the month of March and so ako na wi eko kan na ye twa wa fim ho a na chese ye twa 75 days ewo the year 2026 aka 290 days and sana the year 2026 ako na wi ye don hwe a ye twa wa fim se netimi ko na wi ya na ye twa 1800 hours na aka 6960 hours and sana ye de afenom so ako na wi ye na bosumi ye wromu ye bosumi etoso miensa aka bosumi na makomako enkron ansa na de afe no enso atimi akona wie na wotwe ye wromu nei na wotwe etoso miensa ewo March bosumi no mu aka na wotwe mienu na ewo ho de March bosumi no na ena ye de edikan ewo na wotwe etoso miensa no emu aka na fu ano enan ansa na wotwe a etoso mienu no kona miensa so no ye de asi ne enne na de meka che won se ne se wudu awoda me fa kwanya we so na me ma happy glorious birthday ene no yenkai honorable lawyer Jonathan Tete Ofe Honorable Jonathan Tete Ofe a former MP ewo Dangbe Shai na ye wono 16th March 1940 and wanya 86 years. Sanso and Honorable John Peter Amewu. Honorable John Peter Amewu a former MP ewo Hohoi na we former Minister for Railways Development, former Minister for Energy, former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Ye wono 16th March 1968 and Honorable John Peter Amewu enya 58 years. Happy glorious birthday enko emfa emano. Na no pay na yedi nkomo bi na yedi nkomo fa PURC fonso a omo atete so afi nkane aboa omo atete so no eso na yedi nkomo edi afri na nsemo a ye ka no se o yesa de nkomo ti a PURC kire se ohwe exchange rate na afi nso no ohwe se de inflation etie ena ma omo quarterly review no quarterly no matime ateso na omo te so a na yese sanema we a play significant role ewo omo review na omo ko review ye no emu na nam so ama yetimi ate ensu ene enkanea ebo so ede amaye astimamfo emu nsem ne nkomo etesen wo yese de omo ate ensu so na ensu no wate so 3.06%. 3.06% and wati insu so effective next month 1st April and wati insu so sanso and electricity insu wati so 4.81% and also effective 1st April. Now baby say and so on or say eba na say also here exchange rate no and now share the dollars to cedi ratio no a form inflation form your time any hydro no a generate power no be beka de one hono and also improve and so that is the reason why then no here say one more two sum and also man so no bo ejina ho and ase nkane abo no omutum and ase e wose man ejina ho na wose man eba form with that aspect no is say the previous increment omo ye no within the quarterly one no omo de 12 cedis per dollar and a year and they cedi no ejina around 11.10 so if sesa na tie dia then they was say omo tin so e de maye teachers so kere when na ohwemu a within pesos because at first now your lifeline and now we use electricity now we 0.88 pesos per kilowatt hour no na che say utia 88 pesos ene omate so ama obetua 86 pesos so 2 pesos bi no mate and every so nkontabuo mu no say na nkomo ni hyehyɛ so etie ni nyina no ade se ye hwempanifo bi no bedi sa nkomo yi na watimi ahu se de niema ekɔ Kopek for chese fuel no ebekɔ stro Ukraine see Ukraine say Iran any Israel and tokwa US no ho abomu bi no ebe mafango bo so akosro ni nyina no nkomo na wotwe mu nyina so ibedi ede ama no pe na me ka cho say ene ye freedom of information day ekwan be ne Ghana ha ye faso nye informations ekwan be na Ghana ha ye faso ye wo right to the information bill, right? So the right to the information bill no it is saying obeka say na no auditor general ede nkomo betu biase ye wo institutions bia omo ama o man boka ewo hawa ebinimu ask for information na omo pese omo dis information be mo omo ni nyina so eye nkomo a ewo so ma me kwa ahoma so na me ne honorable Collins Adomako Mensa emo nkomo honorable Collins Adomako Mensa eye mrase bedwane oje ma omanfo ewo afija Kwabre North where deputy ranking member at the Energy Committee honorable no pay me mo ache
many of them
me ba chompo mboko de
me no ka say de nyankopon de men fa cheme
ina radias na no pay yes ni sobra wanyama ye won the two television so na on ye ebon komo weekends no be ko na wie ya na say week a twa mu na no no ebe ko na wie ye no ene nya na ntie say the Public Regulatory Commission for utility a omo eho adwuma na omo ye no e de abeto monten so say ofa ensu a omate so ofa nkane a omate so basically say oye deputy ranking dem the Energy Committee enti ne yaba ho na paisi no be disa enkomo yi eche se omate nkane abo no so e de aba 4.81%. Wadaroma saa entisue eye significant wo me Ghana ni a wotie mi abra bomu to this aspect buying cash inflation or form we form into omotin su ene nkane aso a eye e de maye.
First of all, my mention with you for no shefo. Any reduction beyond considering the situation you almost see, any reduction beyond is welcomed. However, question is very important whether the reduction is enough to cushion the Ghanaian consumer.
That's
right. And na many PRC for a boy brakakra because maybe na mudi say be anywhere a basic point say electricity so at this particular point in time. It's answer not all the indicators are showing say so. Now yen as a minority ya calculation kakra and now you feel say in as much say yeah bo mabaso ni ada o maso o mateso no we feel say inka inteso no e say kobe 10%. 10 to 14%. It's answer we share from last year almost says to electricity munua. The main determinant and as a nyoma and nine almost so edit electricity so and as the cost exchange rates, inflation, generation mix, and the cost of gas. In fact, third quarter pay and normally nyoma count, which is reserve margin, and then the cost of liquid fuel. And no crown ya no more etching kakra. It's say that time no more the one Ghana city abba catcher say and no is going to take care of liquid fuel. Until na a double head.
That's right.
They are electricity tariff adjustments.
Right.
You know more train into the share set who set on the fourth quarter no or man for anka home be. Now the reason why you feel say or matter so name so much more on say said the omode letter nearby and they are no at the beginning of a quarter. Into normal projection to say inflation almost so you 11% into from now to June. See the actual inflation figure and I said the actual exchange rate figure. And non the bet whether the omode year calculation no and then the actual whether the same and I say boy bra and I say a cost and I say form. From first quarter of last year up to date, it is only in the third quarter and the exchange rate of Muyusu at the end of the quarter no exchange rate no cost so crazy above that. In the third quarter, I think it's only 10.03. At the end of the day, near 10.07. And in the fourth quarter, no we under recovery. Difference in the bare moon almost had the share fourth quarter and my fourth quarter interest no quite equal 12.37. And say third quarter at the end of the third quarter, we I'm also if it consumers so in the fourth quarter there. Then in the second quarter and the fourth quarter no at the end of the period, we use fourth quarter, we use 12.37. At the end of the fourth quarter, net exchange rate is 10.53. Let us say you have overcharged the consumer into first and second quarter, fourth quarter, so into yes, all those calculations now, we were expecting even more from this reduction than the 4.something% normally in fact, inflation in the fourth quarter. Inflation figure you see was about 12.6%. At the end of the fourth quarter, not on an average, near 6.2%. Let's just say inflation it was more than half the figure you see. So let's say in the first and second quarters, the fourth quarters now. And yes, yeah, that almost say the indicators no reduce prices tariff mama. Name based on our calculation, you did the same more than the figures for the money.
Right. You share or more ye found one who a juma kakra in aspect to for ye to petrol any diesel so emu in him say the generation of ye light no omu use sa na money be. Kopek for boy in commerce 50 this week kon ye say better to sa na no emu ama enema kosro in that aspect. Se kobana sa PRC phone enti so yo omode abai yɛbɛkɔ yɛn anim no ɔmo asa bɛpagya ɛde ama yɛn sɛ because of some hey we nti no ɛwɔ sɛ ɔmo sa pagya mu ɛde ɛma do you foresee sɛ ɔmo bɛyɛ ne saa yɛkɔ yɛn anim yi.
Periodic with tariff no cost of liquid fuel enka ho.
Okay.
The determinant of the cost of tariff no liquid fuel enka ho. That liquid fuel no has already been taken care of by 1 Ghana cedi no mo charging petrol prices no.
Okay.
Into share PRC release ni na and American it's only in the 3rd quarter. And no more the sad any be shame and no crown a question omo. I'm a 4th quarter mu frame. Into what latest a reduction on my impact or read the letter no. There's nothing like cost of liquid fuel. A cost of weighted gas and the room into liquid fuel no there and come into no and there's a so can say it's not part of it. Into muntimi nyina and also and kase the abe into no mobile increase tariffs nibium. Now it's interesting in and then you didn't come when you say international situation it may affect local situation. Who say kakra and say the young MPP for the same argument said the cost of COVID, Russian Ukraine war, a big effect on the Ghanaian economy. Then you know this before the baby. Now you to me a case where I mean a fan will be but the president himself. Current president catches so having Ukraine there 7,000 kilometers. Who the NTR is it may affect here and then or no answer son no say it may affect here. Again, what Kai say the tariff adjustment no it's not because of an IMF agreement so bekaya. Then you see there be yako sign IMF agreement. It's any time be increase be an okasa dey increase here. Almost nana adam akufo-addo and then and a signing IMF agreement. And now I know say the IMF agreement is still in force, but it may reduce tariffs. What it tells you is they say tariff adjustment is basically dependent on economic factors. It has nothing to do with an agreement. And indeed, with the agreement anymore. All the agreement, there's no way in the agreement they can say every quarter be increase tariffs. To me, and the country is on by the two. In fact, we are insisting. So figures no more in the crown yet or must name them as a question. So they can't come back on the basis of what is happening elsewhere to tell us almost have the increase tariffs.
Right. But unkomo ya wadi adi akofa IMF for na me kind article be which you say una enkomo awudi ye and na mama can ba me kind portion of it or say Adoma Kumensa added that the PRC bases its tariff adjustment on key economic indicators including inflation, the cedi dollar exchange rate, electricity generation mix, and fuel cost. That is the reason why maybe say your fuel on your two more billions so be the tariffs no now where you misquoted
and the report now more cano. When I talk about fuel, we are talking about weighted gas. It's not have nothing to do with liquid fuel.
Very well. Very well. It when no dey na catch Ghana for saa ekwan in this year for afaso a omo bu oman no more as a minority, more rejections be was an eme ya omo eye mu.
So first of all, we have been vindicated as a minority. Say buying MPP abai na Danko Akufo-Addo abai anko sign any agreement I actually say what a to electricity. There was nothing like that. Okay. That's fundamental. And then the first thing, I know that everybody now understands that we have been vindicated. Again, in some money the economic conditions in terms of exchange rate inflation are buying the board of Samanese or Mayade and the figures are showing say it is positive. It's the any kind of said those positive macro indicators no as reflected in the micro. And then so we still believe say your and it's not commensurate with how they are bringing within the course of this increment. And you believe it said they overcharged us so much in last year, and we need to be compensated this year. Periods you engage from the minority side and also from the energy committee side. You engage I'm who say yes, we appreciate the reduction, right. But we think that we could have done more than expected. Again, so the okay, Monday, and petrol prices because and a window pricing window will start today. It is basically because of the Israel and Iran war, and also so said we as a minority and the MPP we have been vindicated. So we as a country we don't live in an island, and that's the best elsewhere can have a rippling effect on the economies of other countries. And Omanka Soma Diatum said, in spite of inflation, 3 point something %. In fact, exchange rate 10%, you know, exchange of 10 to 11 cities, you know, petrol prices are going to go up because there's an aspect we are buying anything to me, which is the international price of crude oil, which is being affected by the conditions around the world, and that's around the Gulf area, and Iran, Israel, and the US for air contoka. And to Ghana, for us to just brace ourselves for some increment at the pump. Unfortunately, and now pay me check crude prices, you know, aside for so more than $100.
That's right.
What it means is it means the next window no crowd there more than what you are going to see in this window. It's, you know, as a buying as immediately, you know, a finding way to cushion the Ghanaian consumer. A buying will control over taxes and levies or charge of petroleum products. So either say a buying suspended some of the levies temporarily, whilst share the situation up there. And now say obey be a free so cry. And that's how the next 2 weeks now is going to be very, very difficult. Right. Again, MPF also catch say your fuel can about 7 weeks. But would say no more tankers view a ponoso would mean I can ABA your bear 10 weeks be a twaso sanwa. The question is, how are we going to deal with availability? This answer may be a tough one. You're sure by this time, to baby, no, Ubia will try to hoard to serve their local market. That's right. And also, I see a drinking home.
Right. I mean, I say, I'm on your 7 year. Yera, Johnson said, don't get here, didn't come over far. And Quadano Moko Soja, and I suppose Juma was say, Nipa 500,000 quarter forms. Na ye 5,000 ya. Omo can say 500,000 in a team ramwa. Cromfo ben or quacher or more. Does it mean say na ye nim say ye ntimi mfa dwuma ti say ye na na ye catch or man for say ye buy be for nwuma e wo soldier police in the akaka ho ni mu.
When you are coming from a city there, I don't think it's too surprising. I accept even more devastating thing from him than this. It's me as a person, I'm not too surprised. However, the M1 say Aban is trying to play the ostrich. As if saying omunim say omuntimi mfeni panododo. They knew. In fact, omuba parliament, you know, omu the budget by our budget number a ceiling for compensation. It's equal budget my interior ministry. You're more about 16 billion Ghana cedis. That 16 billion Ghana cedis was supposed to take care of recruitment on Babaye. So per their calculation, they knew from the onset. So omuntimi employ a nipa more than 5,000 to 6,000. We are IMF conditionality. Omo no de budget ni you approve that limit for them. It's not a ubiama. So we need so bit my next 5,000 to 6,000. And so upon forms, I'm a nipa 500,000. Again, no, 24-hour economy bill no by parliament. No. One of the institutions, I'm gonna say, sir, 133 man, security services. It is in the bill. Now, currently, you are about 100,000 people. It took us about 133 there. Let's just say me, I'm Ghana, you know, my anticipation is open about 200,000 account.
That's right.
So the bay about 300,000. It's my 133 now. Okay. It's reasonably no. Me quite a tough form. I have the reasonable. You say make it for me. Again, age brackets. Wouldn't say our age limits. And also be age limiting. What it meant, let's say more people could also apply. And yet me say, in my own thinking, I believe that I buy PCKB as part of their internally generated funds. But I never quite no more catch Ghana for because from the onset, they were very clear in their mind. They knew about Parliament about approving compensation budget, and they knew said they could not afford employing more than 5,000 to 6,000 people. It's more science and the cancer and media growth said the many pennies. First, doing get 500,000 now. One more. It was so below the belt, and it's unfortunate. Says if free no buy.
Very well.
But when you know, I always tell people about what wants to answer. Whenever you are going to vote, you should know say there's an implication. See, I mean, no, say bro, you debako. That's right. We should just brace ourselves for some of these very, very unfortunate policy direction by this government.
I mean, I see our pay. My niece or brother, Yama, Yabon, Komo, Yaku, and Mibichi, I use a me di home como.
Mr. Medasa,
right. Abusia pani a otisem ne twetwe nkomo yi Honorable Collins Adoma Komensa Oye mrase bedwane de mo manfo wa fija Kwabre North Abato Empesias Deputy Ranking Edema the Energy Committee wo mrase bedwam ana otisem no edi anyina mohode ho enkomo na ohweti nsem se de nsem no wo ka no efa no a se yesi we kofom anka omo as a minority dom kuma wo mrase bedwam ne na nka omo expectation ka PRC better so more de amaye ifiri ho ebewura mu ewo fango nsensem so enyane ntie se still ono so check ye na yese Brent crude no said yese kosoro ewo wiase adwama nyina na asan rizi ekosoro being the factor say eye entokwa a ekoso no na abema na ba what do be the other alternative for wasa ban eye yese wo fango ni bi ayere so a ebia ye yusu no be bosome a de aka nipa dodo ewo oman mu no ye yusu fango no be bosome a ye betimi anya bibia yi de na ye ada alternative ewo se etimi eyusu ni nyina no ye nkomo ewo se menu mienu nyina edi ne ye hwe kwan pa ye betimi afa so a ye de sa ne menu nyina no so ebe ye adwuma na no so etimi akoso the dialogue show so na menu mienu edi enkomo na wo hwe se de enkomo no aduru no a yekọ yefanwo na afis energy sectors no emu a enema yede ye dwuma no yenketeso nkakra ye wo levis ahodo bi ha egugu fanwo so a sa levis nyina ye levis e wo se etimi yifiri ho nanka fanwo ne bo eba fom ede matimam ni but you ask yourself say ede na ye ede na ye pe sika no a yese bi ni manum ne fa kwan bi aso gi omanfo bi yes we understand say ye betua tax although ye betua tax said the niema etie no but be say kwan be na fa so ge tax no ne ye de boa omanfo kwan be na fa so ge tax no ne ye de tax ne ye adwuma ma timamuni no eje ne tax no itafe beto mri bi no obi kotua tax na onwinwi why because the tax na ye otua no onya so emfa so that is how ema Ghana ni eho ekire no na ema Ghana ni nwinwi ewo sa kwan no eso ewo se oman no ene omanfo eye accountable to sa de ye kan that is the reason why ene akoye day bi to say freedom of information day my information no some information no a ye nya na ye timi dia bata ye point no ene na boa no because eye the fundamental to democracy ni say umo obi no information obi ask for the obe here na wo de be man no it is so fundamental the man ye hold aban no accountable enema ba ko mienu bia wakọ ade wechire mu no wa ma information dia chire mu no that is how it goes na semensa eka Professor Elias Mumuni our vice dean faculty of communication and media studies UDS amene be di sa enkomo yi na ya hwe kwan pa e betimi afa so se timamufo akse bibi nkoso yie na se obi bebisa e wo se as a matter of fact no yetimi yedey yetimi kasa asem no e de kire no yetimi man information no na otimi enya ha eye net2 television the dialogue show so ena medi ho chiame e de amawe no nyankopon eye adom ne ebedi nkomo no nyina akwanimu a na wo se de na bokrata no so eto so ho asa ye hwe ni mu se mpadefo a yensa ebeka ne no bedi nkomo na fe oma broaden the communication no e de amaye ne the understanding na ye wo ne mamu so omatimi aboy na yetimi ahunu se de ekoso ene ewo the dialogue show so the Monday's edition no ene edi ho nkomo e de amawo ye bana fe ye de ya santo a enso de no bokrata no so ababe rewremu e de amaye ene anopei ewo jumadie so ya mache akwaba
ye nua
boko de
ya me adona also
right ye me so me ho ye pa
ye ya me ase
na ne me koye
ya me adom
very well
eya nesa
very well ye hwe ene yesi ate fango se fango electricity bo yate so ene nsuo yate so na unim o de konkuntabuo mu a ye wo mo e from say lifeline omo no de ne se omo a omo sikasem wo form so Ghana how do we determine omo sikasem wo form eno nti se ya determine dia yes sa ankrofo no every hour bia no omo ye measure omo enkania omo use no 30 kilowatt per hour. Nti say ebia yebekọ bia obi wo ha oyusu other way na ono no ne self line so no ono de ne measure from above the 30 hour no so at say the 30 kilometer no nti yen Ghana fo no omo ye ni bie no 30 kilometers per hour. Na kind na 30 kilometers per hour per hour kilowatt per hour no na utua 0.88 pesos per 30 kilowatt per hour bia no na utua 0.88 pesos and utua say aba 0.86 pesos yes so here 2 pesos and yati free so
I don't pay me who my service
2 pesos and yati free so but you understand the say number 2 can do something when you are doing algebraic expression, Pythagoras theorem, even simultaneous equation. The number 2 can mean something, dear. But utie MPM ni di nkomona na they were expecting more. Say yente so kakra naga nani enhan pensamwa ndi se manyoku e kan de kire Ghana for bibi ba na ka yente so a nkanye 2 pesos and yete free so.
Well, Kwame, and I make us say, I don't pay me who my service, but you know, you kind of saying, and you kind of say, because to the beer and some no, what ka, and consistent penny for ye be found home, and now put saying, come on, maximum for your one higher, come on, my one high walk, why, you make us so no crave, dear, my ye, then so, one more, and yan is summer, that's right. Woman, I see at so, ma ase atumu chese enema na ye bibie wo ho what I say enti 2% na be ne dem
nti we ene yente so no
na kwa mo be ne dem
akwa de se okoto aduane na bisa so ante ya atome so na ma me no what aduane bi a 10 cedis onto so man ko do 12 cedis na onum se 12 cedis na be me o de ane to
12 cedis I now the my house also work as na me Romani
when you go to Rome pen your kind when you go to Rome
and then young Kenya me
I joined the Spiritans community at Pantai Abokobi Pantai Junction hona no Shalom Junction hona the Spiritans no e wona hona e asofo no Roman sofo no hona omo e base sofo na ha anti e hona omate community a say ye wo in and around that enclave no e betimi aba so I was fortunate to join the Spiritans community yesterday. Say young summer radin.
The my nipa born for someone kasa. I was saying I enjoy them so the one kata ho dry saka e o dialogue net TV sumraso. Me di anim no e ba betija e dia ma me sha set up kata fa. E to su du mienu na se ne na ye ka insuo e na afei electricity ayati so no. Kata yi e dia banyame ya duma epo da edikan no e wo epo busumi ni mu ye betiti e light so ye betiti ensu so e ho nsem wakata fam eto so do me no na kata fa eto so do e nine so e wa ha say na Kwame kidney ya wie aba
that's right
aba ense na wo twetwe mu so for share pomuden nsem so de beto dwa se enipa bro 4 million e na wo mo e wo kidney yare no na wo mu nnim po se wo mo wo sa yade no aba pant abusia yesre nkabe ya bosom miense bia ka kwa check up na kwa hwa wo gye mu wa pomuden ho nsem kona kwa hwe na wo kon so amayefa kidney test no enka ho anase yenye kidney mu hwehwemu emfa emma wisanse yade yi edin kwofo eto na nanom siedo na yade a enim akoda na enim pani enim obi enim hie enim sikani ebisai wo so a na akoye ohaw ede ama ye besre ye nyina ya pomudi ho semedu dwada na mebegina hana wanhweme a akoye bibia ohunti mesra no pay se ko na kohwe wapomudi ho sem fa kidney de na ka ho se ne be wapomudi betimi agina branem Met also catafet also do me and I was share and him has seen for now who me and son and that has say na Korea form and penny for ye one more anymore is a China for almost is a pa and so many more and a pomophony at the has seen Africana ye man penny ye rajon dramani mahama or penny so a shit in fifi na man penny copy more was South Korea no if I should do a few more by any say ye investments ye trade dear who is seminal a co ye at the Michael Ghana we no eye nhihye fofra eba beboa mo man no yesika semo agina ye na ye dwedie nso etimi etumpo ho asem no bie e wakatafa etoso dumie no anopai medi mu nsem no asomwo e wo the Ghanaian Times anim abusa meto so edida chronicle ediama na chronicle na katafa etoso ensia na wotwetwe mu ne beto dwa say good board peni kwanche for dan no rasa mejamfi yesi laptop bi wakwa akocheche as surprises no was stretch say who some gentle ha be fontentan kase so no rasa meja fi aba monte so edin sima betu just say sansam na akofo kafa no ho na nya no kre good board ejumeko no wo mo koye bibia sa who some no air trend nti no so e wo kata yi anim enu achi EP wo bo so edomo sama ba na woni se ye ka EP na oman no ye environmental agency ho asem na mekan ye hwese EPA na we no eni nka ho into musi ENP
okay
enti our chronicle anim enti aka ho asem na onim se oman no ye environment no se ne be ye bedi ni nie na mine ne ho nsem no so betimi abrase eno so ho nsem bie wakatafa etoso mienu ene afi dunsia no pay chronicle so ede ababeto anim na telisa Ghana so wo musi wo mu be increase investment infrastructure no so ho asem no e wakatafa etoso enso anopay the chronicle ede ababeso yen
telisa say bia obi bia kam na bebo mamane within 24 hours no normal rectified coordinate report to the no normal because we have better credit from all phones so and the call be phone so na say be okita phone me no but our network back we Vodafone and for that matter we say the to other network so na e bia ankwa almost reverse we sika no a ankwa back amount say bia na Vodafone so e telesel ye can maintain say obi say ye yimi sika obi say yimi say na nipa no use Vodafone line and I telesel line no use ye but
one time till
omo there and so omuni nkrophobia basically wasenka ye use omo more na omo timinya na omo serve more because Ghana ni ekoto credit ni 5 cities square na de na auto credit na fe ama be kakra nkrofu betwo matwo na spending one pende sa emada obi adupu no wafra bo amane no emada yen ka hwentiro mu sika no so besi ne emma so you ask yourself some nkrofu we mu free
I was for daily guide. It's also from Rakatafa. It's also me Insia and I make me come we say. Na IGP a hosti New York police one more team no ewo Ghana has say Ghana si say yen krabata no yet nemu yet remu efa no apomodin semu efa no ahobambo semu yet remu pa na ewo mo fa so dia Ghana enya bie ewo dwumedi ekoso ewo ha ene se omo besua bribi fi Ghana Police Service edwumako nim saranso na Ghana Police Service so ebesua bibi edifi womo so mo de edwumako nim tie beka ne se bantawe no emu wode ai ensem no wakatafa etoso ensia no pemfo ni ahodo wa ha nyina no efenti wunya kata ebi kenkaya na wate mu ensem no ase na katafa etoso ensia ha senso eye Reverend Wingam na wono Nigeria na akwa sponsor pastors omuchu yesen asofo asofo and amoko retired omo akwa support woma ehun nsem no bi so ewo enim ha sei enti anopai ne krata di baye no
ene ne yere
ene ne yere
ena sponsor
asofo a wo mo kɔ retired asofo mo kɔ ahomegye mu aha wo mo apomuden ho nsɛm no won sɛ ya na amokɔ ahomegye mu saa na asɔre nani nni o mo so saa nti we ɛyɛ sofo ya ne ho kani ɛna wo mo akɔ sponsor no so ho nsɛm no ɛwɔ ha sɛ bi afei sa me gyamfi asɛm good board pani kwantrefo na asɛm no katafa to so dumienu ɛbɔyɛ amane saran so ɛna ENP so wo mo ho asɛm no katafa to so miensa so ɛde ababeto anim na ensam no asɛnua ne san wo daily graphic inti no kwame me ya de asia ne sa me de asia
mama na ase anopai ewo na obokrata no sɛ de etia wabedan de ne ede amaye ne anopai yebehwe na fei ya dane ye ho aba sɛ ye dane ye ho ba na yeba beji adwa ofa ya twede de sɛ the intellectual discussion no na yɛde aba betu wanim na fi yɛdim emu enkomo enen nso freedom of information day as the national freedom of international we can say freedom of information day.
Okay.
And it's like yɛgye information wherever that you seek information no free nipa na no one where the home komo. So we mark this day say a fundamental to democracy. See a kamamenka bia the fundamental ne say me bu akonta dia mo. It also help the abine say abine no ebe accountable to nipa or servium.
Okay.
Tibia yentu we ase no aba monte so no abechichim yentu we ase no aba monte tikese kan na da bia te saa no ye hyeda gi forum na ye bisa amanfo ye di hu komo but what the compare abine a saban the difference say ye ewum to bu okra won ke saa de wi ni nyina mu no eba na eba be di hu komo
na kwa be yesi metete obi nyo se me na metete kwa me metete se akuafo yi wo musika yi yesan bete so
today menti yes ye better so there but I think so within the weekend na senior nya na tiesa ban ICQ osika bi say yemfa metua akuafo ka to say 4.something billion ena ye aban ye say
aso say so mo better so
beto mu amye de ama omo no when
I don't go dey say enkata de ban ne boss so but penny me no ase me di nkomo okoko board nti penny me no e bia na ya teso
zenze no de anhwa
tisade
eno de anhwa me se kuafo nyina ba beda parliament na so ma beda jubilee house Flagstaff house ntino
I was there ko eti anope ma me chia Yahoo fashion wo hwe me anope wo Dubai radisha no yo kese me da sisa no pay me ko ba chima no masefo mo hwe me afei so mo am wo US ni me ti mo bo bia di me da bunyina me da boss
me so me bra pa ni hwe me e wo UK nti anopai e ba bedi nkomo se de niema nyina ete ye ba sisi a abusia ma me mo achensa mo akwa babie mo fa umra the dialogue show eso ne 2 television so eni na ene no ebra so se empempenso ayedri yesi adwa na afi yedi nkomo a ya twe ne dey say the intellectual discussion ha ene etena na afi ye ne mpanifo asasa adwen ewo dwumadi no so nti ene friend the dialogue show na anopai mene lawyer EN Akresi Japan ene ba bedi nkomo na lawyer EN Akresi Japan a private legal practitioner ene me no ehye ba bedi nkomo afa ene no eye dwumadie bia na nka mehwe ne mu se mene Professor Elias Mumuni ebedi nkomo ye vice dean Edma Faculty of Communication and Media Studies ewo UDS na me no di nkomo kakra na council so de kakra asoso ne se ene no international ye da bi esi wa friend say freedom of information day kwan ya ye fa so a ye gi information efiri obi ho kasa no te sen anase enkomo no te sen wa brief obi na nipa no e kan waka ne trudu ana watimi akirichiri mu e de akire wo se enye PURC for ne ba abonten so be kan say yate nsu ne nkane abo so a how do you get this information and it bi wo ho a na wo sa ban no eba and this ekwan ya yefa so ne ekwan ya yefa so ma ban no check accountability e de ekire ne manfo kwan yefa so bu nkonta e de che ne manfo so bi nti bibia se a owo ho akwanya se obisa oman mu e obi e friend say right to information bill I ono ho abeda ne emra I no ne law as we invoke sa law no ana so tro nkrata ko ba bi a yehia sa de na ombegina sa amra no so na omode information no amount how frequently any use sa emra no de ye adwuma ni nyina no na nka obeboa ye ameyetimi ehunu bi but ebre no so ye ana se yensa nkan no na wase mene lawyer EN Akresi Japan edin komo ewia na fia boramu ewo PURC fo nkomo a omde abeto emonte eso council anope yakwaba
me jo semenia
boko de
na metiasi
de the radiasi weekends na na ma ye
anya kura disapedi
every day but for see you so kra na ja de bia edide itika kra na last na me madam for bakers I say obi enu ha wachi apeda ama de ache ne da uchi anko peda bre o me peda enso ade sanwa obekọ efie bi mu akwa nso uchi apeda bre no obi enu ho bechi apeda bre ama de ache no e wo si mi chi ya nti me peda bre
na wanya ba bi kra na ye tie bia kwani nkuma na asemi nya ba bi na
sanity
ma ho bia wada speaker ho e bo nwom no wada
yes ye hwe nkomo edi kan and say yes freedom of information day when it comes to this day we information because obi abekasa ojina information se no kasa ojina the fact and figures no de kasa sa da bi ati sa aduru ade ne ka de kire oman ana da bi ati sa aduru a de ne pese impompanifo ne timamufo ehunu wo da bi ati se yi
we de meda wase na machiao na mache ahwefo ne atifo nso
right
ye kase freedom of information a ade a very fundamental pa ade hia pa ma oman bia nkanka aman a omoje democracy anase kabimamika bi edi no omo ye principle a eboa ema kabimamika bi etimi etumpompa and very fundamental as far as democracy is concerned
right
se ye hwe se obi betimi anya information access to information na aboa ama adwenkyere atimi akoso na aboa ma oman kyekere atimi akoso a ne fapem pa ne gina information so
right
gina ye timi eye parliament e de sa information bill a ene information law no e de ba ya de ababo ase
okay
enti ye boa ma se nipa bia no open information bia kanka journalist for open information bia fa aban kuntabu bi ho open information afa dwumadie bia e koso ewo aban institutions organizations bi mu a sa mrano ne manipa no kwan manitimi kosa institution using the appropriate channels and as appropriate processes no na obekọ to the various institutions no na wakwakoje sa information no enti sa information na boa ma itimi edi akoniaba wonsem kaye ene ye democratic process na boa manitimi gina ne nice
okay
ade a ehia pa
right was say you downplay informations and I say whoever or information at your bosom no or cameso and now can tell some person be release this information out to someone.
What do you mean can so?
Okay.
The emergence of law we no ama right to information no. The essence of it then say betimi aboama nipa bi open information bia from any government institution bia no betimi anya access to information.
Okay.
It is uhia assembly na bibi free any institution bia institution of state who click access procedures no na utua the necessary fees say utua never say bia open information be on some health issues and now information on some security issues apart from the state secrets I don't know what under the State Secrets Act you maybe a friend the State Secrets Act so State Secrets Act no ebo o man no nsem bi wa secret and the infant to dwa
okay
and no president ne other security experts emano ma omo ho kwan so mutimi this information ebo o man ho bra no omo kwa na enim this sa asem a wohwe no emfa sa state security first state security no wa emra ma kwan say o come and also under the right to information bill na law no right to information law no na obetimi access
okay
after say bia wotua sika kakra bia emra na beboa ana emra na hyehyɛ say wotua na otimi nya sa information no enti sa na no no etie obi anu ho kwan say otimi come information bia na say o share information bia say o ma na enkwa abonten just say a part of the state security apparatus no and no you reserved for certain special reasons because of the security so what you do know or state security
that's right
you nsem nyina na intimidate to abonten nsem efa your national security ho nsem a ye de to abonten sa bit say bi afa say your president the travel patterns your state security the residences and the whereabouts of the president and the security details no state security and tisa no mamu sa na bia opa eno de untimi nko under the right to information bill no na onko ka say yemfa sa information no emfa emma
right
na the obetimi anya no ye ne enfollow under sa we no eno no call na utua hu ska emra no makwan say itimi de ma na eboa officer bia so DC so MC so regional minister so president so hwan emra no ehya na kete say opesa information no a esa won satimika obi ene wa obetimi ahye sa information so abra onfa ema say nipa no kura empesa this information number in fact you have the right within the remits of the law to go to a court of competent jurisdiction usually a high court for orders for the directives to be given by the court for you to have access to some information now or hwehwe no nti obi ene ho kwan say otimi hye so say me information we ma me information we ma meet criteria na law na hyehyɛ say ye emphasize information na ma watua the necessary usually pittances fees kitwa bi na watua eno na ebi e de be print some information na ohwe no ana e de be kwa hwe some information na ohwe na ye de ama utumi tua some fees na enye part of the state secret no no ya reserve for the purposes of your internal security any other way no and follow under no they tell you on sabetimi account for information obi antimi and prevent from having access to state security
very well and they say obi criticize obi will be adwuma mu criticism say ba na it means say obi impede obi from say obenya information ebe mana ka the fact na ho nti say or preempt aka or criticize now what information what the true correct information or at the baba sometimes it end up say you do court wakase mo anye na afa me ho ayesi na afa me ho sa coordination ni ho say be criticize or it means you pay the right information no it where wo ho no fabra bonten either than the senka or the court
almost say open information you go to the right source be a journalist open information brief about a certain hospital or more ade bi o makoye nam so ma obi awu wadwen mu no reckless and I say negligent na bia hospital authorities no ana say any doctor bi or facility ni mu aya enam so dey o how bi aba opesa o ka ho asem a yes how you say you write to the administrators of the hospital and I say open kra you write to the superiors of that very facility won san ka ubetimi kura the minister for health who say information and answer we di kan kra what they call authorities no mo na omo nsan kan we be call directors no nsan kan we be call sa locality no baby a hospital no wo no omo a omo hwe so wo sa area no nsan kan after sa no man nya betimi dey call minister for health or say this is the situation open information say afa ade bi ho a eti say hu say o follow sa channel no
okay
say one follow sa channel no you may be denied. The denial no nam so yemfa information now hwe no mfa ma no nye say nipa na share information so only say oye na say because one follow the right procedure.
Right.
One follow the right procedure there you may be denied, not necessarily say bia or deny access to the information but because of the breach in procedure.
Okay.
And no ade a basic way a say obi etimi hu na etimi eboa. And this information there say when setimi kan betimi aboa ama ade bi a opese wo kan ho asem anyway ne betimi aye. And one say the be mani pa na court say wa kan asem bi agu ne ho fi afa information bi ho no yes say wo be kan asem na brade no entisa.
Okay.
So open information no na ukọ na ya amfa amawo who can also can in such a way say who can as a statement of fact in law you say statement of fact who can a statement of fact and say who can dey na mana akwa esa dey no say na who can sa na etie
right
now who can some amana akwa esa sa na tie abra dey no nya hu ni nyina mu nsem ne mu nyina nwie ya say dey tie bia na be kwa wie ntro
right
so e bia dey no nipa miensa na asena nisi omawu a statement of fact what can say here who as a war records and evidence e we say sa na si but if you minister of health be ba na nipa wu ye no e bia nipa mienu mama we a typical example who kai say ye nuanom ma ya na ye se ye pe soja adwuma ya ye nuanom oppose soja fodo nkogu e work ho tu funi mu ya stampede ne ho asansam omukoko wu ye journalists also nipa 15 na wu.
That's right.
Na ye bopin soldier for no omo PRO na and I say public relations officers na omo no kasa ema military officers na and I say the Ghana military way. Also there be nipa 3 na wu, nipa 6 na wu. So tisa wo kana sa na si na ye be hwe na nye sa na si a wa mislead.
Right.
Na won say wo mislead nipa bi individual bi na wo kasa asem no fa na ho say wa ya ade bi say now cancer no as a statement of fact na agu ne ho fi na ebe komu na nya sa na tia na say wagu ne ho fi
right
under the civil procedure rules no so nipa no betim do akokod for defamation of character and as a friend character assassination
must we radical information say be by yen chain na bia timamfo ebubu ho I'm talking about the asidun ketia e kan yura e kan ye fa information e ba bonten say enipa a ye form adwuma and so mo fill a form say person mo ko police adwuma ye bia 500,000 emu 5,000 per any betimi a shortlist wo utie that information that is at hand a obi e kan bi na ye residun ketia se mo be kan say any pa 500,000 no so mu nyina nya police mu koya kronfo be no mo ko kire no hwan na e koda ne kronfo ama ya kire mo a that is information at hand to us. Must we ridicule the information that yenya say enipa say and e kwa ha say ni betimi a form in the Ghana for. So instead of saying ka obe play the intellectuality of the information na Ghana for enya na obi so ampa nkrofo e say am ka say mun eye as information e ba ye ho no omo ridicule information no. Must we do that?
I don't think say or say it me esi ensembia na as information be ya hunche be esi sa information na twetwe ade enye fine me in fact sa ade na ye senior man asidin ketia ye no say na wodi di agro but ono na agudie mu no ya akoye ade bi a enhwe da ntwa yi because oh unim say sa ade no a state institutions ne unim say a criminal act.
Okay.
A serious criminal issue. On say, the minor bought Ghana for Ankasa Kron.
That's right.
Now, say, ye shas ye jaisa subantantino. Say, it's high time say challenges our conduct no, of the various institutions now, particularly the security institutions. Ghana military, Ghana friends say army, and I say Ghana armed forces.
Right.
Omonim so mbetimi afa nipa 1,000 this year per the enrollment statistics omo no. Na omo aya advertisement and as omo dey about public domain. Na nipa 10,000 are forms are applied. No maji omo sika ni nyina na omo fa sa 1,000 no. Nipa do e kai nipa 900 e kai nyina no obi esika nsan ko back e kro no.
But it has been also yedika ka omo aka kire say your money paid and our forms are turn is not refundable, and then you agreed say obeto obefele wa fele nti say ama mansa nka. It means initially they were fair to you say one yamu ayem for sika ma eno so e
and na make say e kro no.
Okay,
money paid is not refundable.
That's right.
Abra unim se sankrofon technically no
untimi mfa
right na say unam sa yosu nyansa kwan so e de ginipa ne sika.
Right.
Money paid not refundable no should relate to the number of applicants vacancies na available for admission.
So to you no kasa na o senka time wo mu be portal ne to ho no say nipa 1,000 no mo fa enka yiro so a 1,000 bia 1,000 number figure kitu ebe ba be kaso bia be 5. Why? Because se omo shortlist here you be o the credentials any the particulars ne kitano no entimi mani nwuram, so that therefore omo be drop say nipa no na sa 5 no a nka be guso ne ahwe so bi emiti a na ye de say nipa na nwuram na ate nhunu se nka sa na be boa dan se nka obi bia ma nipa be indicate drew sa 1,005 people no nka portal na block intimi mo obi abiem. That's what they should have done na nka aboa yen timamufo
Debi enye say omo ye ne sa.
Okay,
because we ne sa na akwa first come first serve. Na kwa say wa betimi aye registration in term no kakra no mo na automatically no ye be frɛ.
Okay,
on say a selection procedure. Na selection procedure na say adwuma awokɔ ye fa nipa na ye be select no untimi determine the nipa no obe qualify na so won qualify because even omo do omo nkrata no omo no ma ba obe sonne so no ahwe mu aye we enti the omo ye say ye be ma nipa bebra apply na that is the procedure. Sa na ye be bia wi ase be bia.
Okay,
Who be opportunity be to home money pass apply either say public institutions and as a private way and I offer nipa as many as are applicants need to apply. You give them the opportunity to apply.
Very well.
But say more opportunity to apply. Na omo tua fees na wie. Na say fees no omo tua wie na say o select omo a obe select no a. Omo o select omo na omo fees na say offer. Omo a wantimi omo anya not because of they didn't qualify, but because of the inadequate vacancies. Now you retain their monies.
Okay,
you retain the money. Who keep his canna? That is it's a way of duping the person. And you know, sad United States institutions, police institution, the Ghana Armed Forces, prisons, way more other security agencies. They should stop that.
Right.
It's a serious criminal offense. It's a serious attempt to reach those institutions at the expense of the ordinary Ghanaian. Very bad.
Okay, sir, 5,000 be here no. Don't know I can. Yes, we have your particulars, we have everything. Into next year, ye me porter ba send nipa na kai no the best shortlist be. And also nka enye.
And also ntimi nya ne sa. On say your mind, yes, your mind here chichiri.
Okay.
So we na sa, na just omo mbe we universities that within that year no. Omo mbe we secondary schools within that year no. Omo wo fia na omo ye adwuma bi kura they want to switch now within that year no mbe take those decisions no. No wa sideline omo.
Okay.
You cannot at any point in time limit applications. Your mind no nipa bebre wom obi atu timi sesa na adwen obi atu timi shift obi asu timi apply for any job obi once there's a vacancy. And there should not be at any point in time some opportunity to apply no you be close to that door no in the face of any Ghanaian. Until the opportunity should be offered, but say woji nipa ne sika abra wajini pa 500,000 applicants sika. Several millions of Ghana cedis na ba 5,000 per abra onim so we here 5,000. Na say sa nipa 45,000 no omu nyina sika na ba bedi ho abra wonim se onya de obetimi afom eye kro no.
So how do you account for that sika na kohwan ho? See your top forms ni sika na kohwan ho.
Certainly ebeko say Ghana Armed Forces ebeko Ghana Armed Forces so police ebeko police institutions no. But clearly benye ba bia ekọ na ehia yen.
So I want to ask say how per yedin komo say the dialogue omu de sika na eye den.
Almost internally generated fund.
Right.
And to more the better no more the to no money. But I come first new says can catch them say crown. In fact, more applies animal. They should take the matter up.
Very well.
And yet they should go to the Supreme Court for interpretation on that. Now court no interpret and must interpretation whether sad is constitutional. It is not because who nipa no sika say ko shortlisted. No nipa 500,000. Sika no for 5,000 nipa 445,000 ni nyina no obi sika aka ho abra nipa no unim se wuntimi mfa no
nipa do say ba ko pe betimi atake up and I say this omunya quantum of number bia sa number no ebe kabo ma se force no betimi atu sa na mo.
As many as are willing to take up the matter can do that. 1 or 2 3 any number bia or more person will be, and they should try and seek some legal interpretation on that. Now you say sa suban no Ghana Armed Forces, prison service, Ghana police, and the fire service. Omu nyina saa de na omo ye no. Yen say whether or not it is constitutional or it is unconstitutional. In terms of the fact say omo jijis can abra omo emfa omo. No omo nim so say enya de betimi afom no omo je omo sika na is bad.
Right. I will say the dialogue show so any to television me lawyer Yi-N Akresi Agyapong na AD Nkomo or a private legal practitioner and I'm no AD Nkomo. Yes, shall see kakra from ene da oko wiase man nyina no reference say freedom of information there I kwan ye fa so information free amount for her and then ye so see yemfa nye entete ene adwem bi ene ni sotie emfa emma foforo kwan be for so benya information there from ofoforo ho empo enkanka na ban a odi saa akonwa anaso odi aban wo saa ba bi edi saa adwuma nyina no yenka hunu se eye fundamental to democracy se obi pe information ade mano a ebetinya mo se kabima minka bi no saa na ekose no mun komo na me ne lawyer Yi-N Akresi Agyapong edi. On that note no ye drop no na ye ba another topic and ye behwe de PURC4 aye se omatinkania eni nsu ebo so mche se as far as 2018 omati bi so 2023 omati bi so enti se net 2026 omati bi so na je se ya kame se basically 2 years bia omati so from 2018 omati so 1920 I think say 2023 or something omati so na omasan etisu ya je se ohwemu a within a period of some years bia no omati so but we the incremental omoye no a it is not sa increment na no omodem say omodem maye efa ent so cancer what the mechanism the number of years are omode etiso no it is not the same as the number of years are omode tumu at the maye because omutumu periodically no afiba ko mutum bia be mpre no ba etimi take be mfie bia ansana omatiso maako e de amaye sa kwan no so no hwe a omudwumadi omudidi e de ma omanfo no eboa and it depending on the situation on grounds.
In fact, me sa PUR is a Public Utility Regulatory Commission. No. Sa omo adwumadi na omo de na ya de a me no omo ya adwenye yi. Because we share ade no a I say ye de benkum e ma na ye de nifa afachi na ye de age. Because factors are omo de be magana for the entia eso omo tu nsuo mu no. Omo de be ka che so galam say a atia tese.
That's right.
Na amanfo atia gu nsuo mu a omo tumu sika akọ no ene na ama nsuo na ye poto a omo ehoro so enye ye nti no eso omo koto nnuro bebre be gumu a eno no na omo de be sane so be sone so be ma yetimenya nsu pa anom ene na ma ebo no ekosoro na omo be ka sa akire yen wie na omo mabo no so timi tumbe be 50% be 30 40 Nemo eba si yete so a ne ya bete so fie bi. Na si yete so kra no a conditions omo de ma yen se omo tum because galamse fu asensu yi ensuo no nsakra no abedin koto nro bebre ase wetumi aso no nsuo kakra bi so enu nanti na ama no ma no bo ayedin no ma omode yadwuma no bo ayedin machines asesei enti na enu nti na ma omo etum enti sano my facilities no fence conditions yom de my enti omode gina so de tu nsuo mu yi ni nyina ho a enkoye
okay
enti standards ben ana conditions ben na afidi aba enu nti afidi ye ba betiti so yi enti mi nka me yakwa ese ase de ensuo no ne light bo no nti so ne mu ntumu no akwa politics
okay
aban ehia sika enana ye tum abanye sika kakra wie no na ho to na kakra ewo ne yesa de yensa nte so kakra na amanfo enkomu hihan mo na afi na no so yabe eno so yebete so a yete so fia te say eyo wa no mu fia bi enka hwe krokro de jon da Ghana ni adwen ama na adwen akwa so aban adwen nipa ho anase bia mpanyfo mo hwe commission fo mo hwe ade isu mo no kura no mo otema bi magana fo na so menye sa na mi hu no because ade no untimi nkotum 100%, untimi nkotum 100%, 80%, 50%, 60%, 30%. Now better so amete so 2%.
Mene Dr. Eric Kofi-Obuti a head of public affairs di ma PRC di nkomo Friday in bra omode sa entiso ibaye no. Oche me se uyusu uyobi a oye health line na ye kan be say lifeline no che se omo a omo ahode wo form osikasem emu no ye measure omode no 30 kilowatt per hour ena ye de measure omode no nti se opese wo hu se wode no dudu obetua first no na 30 kilo per hour na omo e de measure kilowatt no utua 0.88 pesos ena cc no omate e de aba 0.86 pesos so it means 2 pesos now kind yate e de fuzu peso hu dudu a obetua no bosome a e so de saa 0.8 we no multiply 30 kilowatt per hour na say no na ye hour bia na ejo kilowatt no and ye 24 hours especially the light no your 24 hours so 30 kilometer say kilowatt no so they multiply 24 in addition to another times 0.8 no we say bia bosome so a metue sikasi ana metue sikasi nti we nkontabu na se wantia onye din ya wonhye dante ase bibisa o chem so onye sa calculation ti quantum of amount o esen ka utua bosome no ontimi charge se bre kwanene mu no eno be dia me but bibisa se enka omode ba na na so omode ntumu no be ba no enye hard se omobe pre omo ho e de abaye so me sa calculation ni na egu ho e de ma wotima muni no ansa no abeka ntu bibisa no question bi afa sikadodo ese otua ho a ese within a month ro choose se otua sei ana we healthline ana we sei a e wo se month otua sei nya sa na nke wo se ye no
sabe pepe na nke ese so sa no mo we mu na ya na ma du no ma aye ngonwonan wo de Ghana ni koto odwuma no opese wo ya ade bi ese onya abotretra se plane no hye ade no wano na wotimi ahuni oba be ka kire Ghana ni no na ye ne sa sankuntabu we kura po de fan say azumi without admitting say sankuntabu we kura no omo ankasa kura town no mbe ka kire kura no ebe de na Ghana your population ya over 70-80% sebika fro enim manko school enim sa e-mass calculation tin ya obobo so mi nana afia konsu atesehwe bekwai obede calculate sa 0.2% plus times one when ya boss arithmetic tin obede calculate obede calculate ye ya de na makwa ese o man na ye hwe so no nkofo ye hwe so ama o ye nkofo o ma ben awie universities what is a wonya 100 and something years what is a o don't ko sanchire mu ni mathematics tin elective maths tin obeda calculate so enti ye nya de no ye sa na ye amamu ni nyina dada ye ni nyina prekesin se ya na ye no ye nya da jin se dance si ade no mune Ghana ni the ordinary Ghanaian no a wan se be ka fra wan ko school nte hwease no ye nwene ma no nte si ade no ma emwa no ma ohu se na obezi abo na abra ba toto ne no ma
right
ndi udi bai no nanka wa be ka kire mpanfo ye de ade ba ni abka ade no kura no calculation ni say netie What's a simba now to tifrim now balance here? Everybody we say, and the electricity and our water need both years over G. Unsu and our light can ya car. You say now betray to an old tear crash one, and our small corner be our dream on. No one here, Nipana ba why day. What's near tria, or penny baby or wages is Biama, was a siamana, or who knew by betray. The idea I didn't yen abekan woman, and son night chamber money abeka price no. I didn't so bosom is so near Cotiano.
Santia or so was to say, be a fan say fee. A first son and a bosom may son outia lighter. So utia 30 cities bosumini na because you more a boy and light and a crampon on so you are quaduma within a week no above fee back no continue bosomini beso none light out tiana norso. It would if I know a example say utia 30 cities a manta. Say at to be able to 28 cities because of 2 persons now 2 in a year. Now the assistant bar be do be obi tier 150 and tier 200 a month. E wo fie. Say also so say ni so be a fine be. So when ya sa template no of akrom so ampa say na metua. But we there any horse just say eh the adwene be ka kun so mu buye yo so mu ye yo yenim.
Nti sanity.
Right.
Sanity. Nti wo hwe ade bia use no man we mu a. Eye calculations da ho no nkrofo ebeba ebehwe ade no so no omubu yen a omubu yen tu sa
right
wo hwe telecommunications na nipa oti ni kokwa aso okura ne phone say ye te the saying see ye te the saying say na ye o tua for a call 30 seconds call say saying onim
right
and one say ye te ko ye mpanfo e hwe ade no so Minister of Communication ni other individuals players omo a omo hwe ade no so amaye no eno anse ye je agumu sa
because I can't remember what's the man working na honorable esle usu ekufu ebe menya ntie say data and say spy so hwe ya previously na auto data wire bundle no say wo ye ne na ade be church no be check bundle na ebi was bad yes spy no be say data na be news ye no how come say spy
ma to ade atuaka e de na spy
me use so
and that's ho your mount options no atuaka
right
and so yes I spy
so you ask yourself say kwan be na ye mpanimfo ne bi fa so e de esi ano kwan ma yen a ye otomamu no e ho dwoye
enti ye mpanimfo no emo ye so mo de boa yen wo sa no ma we mu utilities ne other bills bia ye tuatua no ne ade no ye mo ye ho ban ye mo yen
right
ti ba wi na je nipa no Ghana ni no e be kwa wi ase no na ho efa no ye bu no fa so sa ye nya kamafo ese hwe na esese sa no ma no ye mpanimfo mo wo sa positions no ese mo hwe no ma bi ye pa Ghana water ho electricity ho telecommunications no ese ye mpanimfo no mo any call no mo hwe ho ye pa ye say kra de bi wo kra be call you ya enko wuti enne no different enne double yetimi frɛ na akosi obi de so ye nya obi obehwe mpa ama yen se nkrofo yi sika o mo gi yen ni ta sika ye tuatua ne ade ye nya good services bia emo ayen nti water for ne electricity for mpanimfo yi omo hwe na omo sese ade na ma yen omo nkan ye obi na akɔ school enye obi na sabi o nim die otimi hu no ma we mo ene ne nam so etora bia na light fo ekwaje bills ya ne ya bu omo akura so hoyo sa no ma we yo because ono no o trans no sese a afra say anasa bosumi etwa abu na o tua 30 Ghana
right
and na ye the bill ba ya te so no kura no o kwa ko tua 100 Ghana and we ever no ne electricity 4.4 omo kwagege bills omo na omo nkontokwa
o here factors a omo de goods and ye ni say no na mo mate so no a obi se o hwe onkrata asem no hwe onema mu a basically o te ase e wo sa kwa no say inflation exchange rate afi tema ene energy we no mo ka bom de ni nyina no e ade a e wo fom ti no mo ti di sa adwuma na utietie e wo ho a eto wasum
enya de eto masum Ghana ni o no ye bibia wo pemfa so bum na ene wo be ka je say o ade no no ma bi abasoro abafom ti ni say wo te so a e say atwehwe waso
okay
e say atwehwe waso Ghana ni ade bi o ye bia no fa so na wo ni trim ezo ye tumu kura PRC for beto ensuo mu nkane ya mu a ye did na almost 50-60%.
That's right.
Ye tumbum na wo ba beto so no ateso fia 2%, 3%, 1.5%. No, abeka cha so we mu na stabilizing tea, we na stabilizing tea. enya de no kre
right
because no more mo ka kire yen de gina so tintiman pa omo de to ade ni mo mbe ka kire no omo si galamsey yenuanom atie sinsuo mu na omo too good
that's right
eno na ma nsuo na say adane tea enti a omo tutututu bi nsuo ni nte
okay
ana nsuo bi organ ha ni ate
that means them
ankobra ne densu no nyina enye tea aye tea nsuo na adane tea eni brown kodi nam ankobra no ma na ekobopum kohwe udu a nsuo na pono white ena de efira ankobra ne mu nso no ba no nyina brown hu ya no on say da bi nkrofo yi omo nsa na adwuma no efe so eti sansuo ya na sonu so ame anumi ensuo galamsey fo agye aboso nti ede na afiro mbeka che say na we ni num ni ade me no omo nya adwen kra enya de a sheda enya no a etosum kra
right abusia ye de lawyer Ian Agyapong na edi sa enkomoi ewo dwumadi eso ye netu dwumadi eso the dialogue show so na breno ne ba bia ye duru no breno de ya bia ene sa ewo nkoma yedi no emu na council yedi ewie kra no na yebisa se sa ntumu yo matumi within a couple of months because July ending and as July more the for beba and no be this the another quarter yekomu pensemi pegalamsey pefu US ni Iran de ya ekwe if it is within 4 months ye omde amaye uprem te say ye be koye nim no ombesan atum e de amaye
entumu no de tie bia so then time make catch say wo hwe ne ye no efi PRC ho ne ba na ye akwesa asade no ye de ye politics bi asade no ye de ye agudie bi because antisa the reality on the ground reasons omde ma ye nti omo tunsuo ni mu no ene de omo keka ne ebo ebra
okay
ebo ebra be ka galamsey nti na wotum na galamsey nsuo nsunsun omo eda so eye kokko na wo see normal inflation ni ade a enya de a eko because nsuo de omo tono bebre omo da so to galamsey nsuo ni nti enti na omo da so to
right
ena say wo hwe so a US ne Iran ne Israel war ye no so ya sha se ye no so petrol enom kokokosui ena say ye tum 17%.
That's right.
John say adian sanity. Ye tum boom. Ye see beto so ye see ya so 20%. Wow, ya na same say. So u betum 17. Now beto so ya beto so
2%.
2%. What is so 1%? Bi okura 0.11%. Ya dey ewi. And you say petrol yi ba be kosuru egu so e kosuru. Nto kwai ntwa ho a sa omo strip yi omo de ye de petrol ko wiase nyina nam so ye ho na bomb yi di ahimi. You say bomb yi di ahimi ho a petrol ntimi nkomba yi. Eno no so effect rippling effect na be ba yen so.
Okay.
Na be ba yen so yo mbe letimi ateso.
Right.
So enti no entumu no na ebe we na mom no yesre. So omo tumu a se na omo nya abotre timi tumbu no omo teso nso a omo nya abotre omo so omo nteso bu.
Right. I can't me na se arope ye de dwumade no simpempensuwe na fe ya sorry na ofaya omofo boache de today's agenda so abeto so e won Netu television na answer no se ebe konadofo bi a omodu o mawoda yemfa kwanya we so na ye wish you happy glorious birthday na a happy glorious birthday enkoma Mr. Mreku Kofi Mreku Frimpong na Mr. Kofi Mreku Frimpong Chief Executive Officer Edema Benava Engineer Works ewo Mataiko enti papa anope ye fa kwanya we so na yama glorious birthday ene ewa woda say happy birthday Kofi Mreku Frimpong. God bless you with long life and peace. We free production team no the oka edi actual ene anope sound so and a happy belated birthday and Elder Solomon Adumensa production team ni nyina eka edi actual say glorious birthday to you Elder Solomon Adumensa. God bless you in all ways. Happy belated birthday to you by all means. And only the production team no eka at the actual and the anope. On that note, now you fakwanya we see that lawyer Agyapong as se obeboaye e won pempen so ye production team ni nyina ye de aseda from MCR Ejano e ho justice e he was ahen obi aye na famu de afi focus any elekem and see your man from the Brokwesi LED production team ni nyina ɛma ɔmo ɛyɛ ya ɛhɔ no afam producer nankasa ɛwɔ dwumadi no so no ɛyɛ amo me amede ho kyia me medin ɛde kwame abo akuda nkwamoa obɛtia frɛm ɛkɔmɔdɔ nyankopɔn yɛ adom a wɔkyena ɛbɛsɛ ahyia ɛwɔ the dialogue show ɛso ɛwɔ Netu television.